Hello, people. It's your boy Usman back again with another Brothers United podcast with my brother, of course, Was. How you, Was?
Okay, thank you.
Good,
I'm good.
good, good. And we've got a special guest, aka Freestyle Football, Saeed. How are you, Saeed? You good?
Yeah, man, I'm all good, man. I'm all good. An honor to be on your channel, man. Thanks for inviting me.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the cameras. Obviously, today is also a landmark week. It means a week today we're going to be chilling, watching Arsenal fan TV because they're going to get slapped by Man City. So obviously, it's, good
That's
times
it.
ahead. In 10 days, all that good stuff. How are you feeling about the football coming back, Said?
Yeah, man, it's good. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna lie to you. I kind of I had the feeling that it was going to be voided. I thought too much complications. There's too much things that are going on in this world. Was football relevant? That was my idea. Was football relevant in the climates we're in? You know what I mean? It got to me from about, I reckon, about start of April, end of March. I was like, this is not happening. So many deaths are happening. You know what I mean? It's reaching everywhere. But then you almost kind of think like, is it possible for the Premier League to say no to all this? It's not possible because the money involved is just absolutely mega money involved in the football and just the fans watching it every day on Sky Sports and whatnot. So the money there was just for me astronomical. As the weeks have gone by, I've been like, yeah, man, we need football back, man. You know what I mean? Like we need something to watch, man, because you see the German league and I'm like, for some reason I was enjoying it for the first few games. And then now I don't even really watch it, to be honest. I watch the Bayern Munich
Yeah,
game, maybe
same.
Dortmund. I don't watch every single game though, but for me, I'm happy Premier League's back. I don't know. I'm a bit nervous for United because I felt like we had a good run in beforehand. So I don't know if it's a good time for United to come back. But then again, you know what I mean, you can't have what you want. You know what I mean, you've got to just take it as it comes in. Yeah, man, football, good to be back and good to see some just action, man. You know what I mean? Premier League exciting football, just to be back, man. Can't wait, man.
Yeah, regarding the German football, we've on our WhatsApp group we did a thing that we all get picked a random team. So obviously I got Dortmund. Was, you got RB Leipzig, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that the first.
You definitely fixed that, 100%.
I had to go on that Sancho watch. You know what I'm saying, innit? And we watching the first couple of games, obviously giving a banter, obviously because I think RB Leipzig drew the first game, and obviously we won 4-0.
Yeah.
And then after that first two games, when Bayern Munich won, when Bayern beat Dortmund,
Yeah,
I just lost interest. So you know what? Bayern won the league. What's the point? So
that's it.
yeah, it meant nothing to us. But what are your thoughts, anyways? Let's talk about obviously our top four expectations. Of course, we're all happy to have the football back. But what are your thoughts going into the last 9 games? There's a lot to play for. This is where Solskjaer is going to earn his money, realistically speaking. Because at the end of the day, if we don't get top 4 this season, it's basically pointless, really, isn't it? What are your thoughts?
Well, regarding the top 4, the Premier League coming back.
We'll talk top 4 because obviously, like I said, the Premier League, we're all happy in it, realistically speaking.
Well, regarding top 4, obviously we're only 3 points behind Chelsea. But I don't know. I think it's a fresh start. I think obviously 9 games left. It's even in your channel, Saeed, I was watching the other day, and most of the guys on there were saying about how the fact that everyone's going to be on a clean slate. It's like this is like being like a preseason kind of gap between preseason. And it's just going to be a start for everyone. Everyone's clean slate. Even Pogba coming into the team, Rashford and all that. Their fitness is going to be the same as anyone who hasn't played for like 2 months, 2 or 3 months. So
yeah, absolutely.
I think we've got a chance to get into the top 4. It all depends on Tottenham and Sheffield United. Sheffield United, I think, will beat without the crowd. I think we should beat them, even though I was born in Sheffield, and it's difficult to say that.
I still think the Sheffield United game's difficult, man. Because obviously, I've watched every single one of the games because I get a season ticket for work. I just think they are hard. They're a well-drilled team compared to that Spurs team because obviously they've had so many injuries. They're going to be bringing 3, 4, 5. Obviously, we're realistically bringing potentially Pogba and Rashford back into the team, and we'll talk about what we want to do for lineup. But they're going to be bringing 4 or 5 players back that they need that have been injured. Like Kane's been out. Obviously, he's going to come back in the team. Son's been out. Potentially Sissoko. Potentially Dembele, obviously he's had to stick with Jose, and then obviously the fullbacks as well. So they got bare people. We've only got 1, maybe 2 players who haven't played in ages. They've got loads.
But the only thing is, people like say Kane, he takes a few games to warm up.
All the time.
Always
August.
This is August for him.
Yeah, it's August. Well, that's fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
August. The 9 games.
Saeed, what do you reckon? What do you think on our thoughts for top 4?
It's in a balance for me because you look at, like the brother said, you know what I mean, like Tottenham are fresh. You know what I mean? Everyone's got their players back now. And it's almost a case of now football versus football. There's no fans there. You know what I mean? Now all he's really got to work his money and you know what I mean? Has he got the tactics in terms of top four? Has he got the tactics to break down teams? You know what I mean? Tottenham, they're not going to come easy. They're going to come and sit back. Mourinho's going to know how Man United play, and how Man United plays counter-attack football. And if you can stop that, and then Tottenham do what we do to most teams, and Son and Bergwijn and Harry Kane hit us on the counter, then it could be problems for United. And then you don't want the second game being Sheffield United. Sheffield United are going to sit back like they do all season and then play to their strength. And their strength is sitting them back, sitting in deep pockets, everyone compact, and then play from the front with Lundstrom and then Fleck, and then them doing their business there. So for me, it all goes down to the first game. If the first game we win, or win convincingly, I think United should flourish and just keep going strength to strength.
Set the pace, basically, innit? Set the pace.
That's it. But if we lose the first game, and I think it's a possibility. I think my United fans are
definitely.
Like,
I don't know why we're so confident.
We're so confident.
I'm scared. It's Jose.
I said I'm nervous because of the fact that Jose is the best manager in terms of one game basis. If you want a one game in world football, I'm choosing Jose Mourinho over Pep Guardiola over Klopp. I want one 100%, game 100%. To decide something, to decide one game management, how to decide a game. Jose Mourinho will come in there, say, listen, I know these players, what they're all about. I know how to nullify Pogba. You sit there, and Dombele, you sit there, and we're going to play a certain way. I'm going to go kick them in the cower. So for me, I'm going to go for a draw for that game. I think if we get a draw there, it's not the end of the world. We can push on, get the win against Sheffield United. 4 points out of 6, not too bad.
The only thing I was just going to say quickly before you change the topic. Basically, obviously, I agree with you, Saeed, with the Jose thing, one game and all that business. But the fact that we've got a couple of playmakers, obviously, you can mark Pogba, but then you got Bruno.
Yeah,
so
you have to.
That's where he's never faced that before. And obviously, people like Pogba, Martial, Rashford have got points to prove.
Pogba and Martial in particular.
They're looking amazing in training. I don't know much about Tottenham training, but they're looking fit, raring to go. I think I'm going for a 3-1 United, mate. Even 3. You're laughing now, but just keep the record of this.
Just to let you know, Saeed, right? My brother is the king of outlandish predictions. He predicted the PSG Man United one, and I was ripping it when he said 3-1 that day. I was ripping it. I was like, are you mad? Yeah, obviously afterwards he was killing me, innit? But at the time we were doing the preview, I was like, no chance, man, no chance. But obviously you've alluded to Pogba and Bruno potentially being the difference. And obviously that gives us a different dimension. But I think Martial is so pivotal to our football. And it massively goes unnoticed because, like, obviously people talk about Firmino and the false nine role, but Martial, for me, he links everything together. Now he's going to have players, obviously Rashford coming back, people running off him, and then Pogba potentially running off him as well into the box. It's going to give us so many different dimensions. And for me personally, Spurs are a massive threat. But like you said, if we get a draw against Spurs, and then obviously we beat Sheffield United, I think top four is ours. Because if you look at the other games on paper, and I don't want to get carried away, but the reason we've struggled against the lower teams prior to obviously Bruno coming in is because we've had Pereira and Lingard as our creative outlet. And now you replace Pereira with Bruno, you replace Lingard with Pogba, it's that night and day. So
it's different dimension now.
Exactly. If Brighton want to sit back, thank you very much. You give the ball to Bruno and Pogba. Let's see how long you can last. Exactly. Want to give them space. But let's talk about the main topic at the moment, which is surrounding Man United. Something we've not had the luxury of talking about, which is the midfield three. Obviously, like I said, we've had Pereira and Lingard as our main focal points. So Saad, what would you go for midfield three? Because we've mentioned Pogba briefly, but he's not played in ages. Does he come back into a game like this? There's so much riding on it.
I don't know. A couple of weeks ago, I said that maybe Pogba doesn't play. But when I look at it and I think, he's looking fitter and fitter. Matt Sharpness is there. I didn't know they were going to play a couple of games, by the way. And obviously, I know Stokes cancelled today because of the COVID case, but I didn't know they were going to play a couple of games. And for me, that's massive. If you were to tell me Pogba having no game time before and he goes straight into that, I said, no, he has to sit out. But for me, I don't know now. For me, I go straight in and I go with it. Midfield three of Fred, Bruno, and Pogba. And I know you're going to probably say, why is Matic not
interesting.
in there? But for me, Matic, why he's not in there is because of the fact that...
Because of Ricky.
Ricky's fuming right now.
Ricky
If Ricky ever watches this, he's absolutely fuming.
I'm telling you.
I might tag him.
Exactly, yeah. You know, what it is for me is the fact that is like, Fred can do the things that Matic can do. It's almost as if now Fred can play. And what we've realised is you don't need tall players all the time to go and play. And what we'll do is we can hold the ball and carry the ball. So now we carry the ball with Pogba, we carry the ball with Bruno, we carry the ball with Fred. When's the last time Man United dominated possession? I've not seen United dominate possession since Van Gaal's era, when we had Herrera in that midfield, when we had Carrick in there. You know what I mean? Like we had ball playing midfielders. We haven't done that for a while. So for me, it's a case of let's keep the ball, let Tottenham get tired, and then we hit them when we need to. But that's down to Ollie. I don't know what Ollie wants. Does he want to protect the back four, or does he want to go for it? That's for me Ollie's kind of plan. I believe he will go for Matic in the midfield because he wants that kind of solidity. But for me, Fred, what he did for the last, I'd say half of the season, got on notice the way he's shielding the ball, carrying the ball from defence to attack. So I have to play Fred in that midfield. I don't know how, but we've got to fit him in somewhere.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I think I was talking to one of my boys earlier on one of the previous shows in the week, and I was saying it's so difficult to leave Fred out because you could make a case for him being player of the season, arguably. Obviously, Rashford is definitely in that case until he got his injury. Now that he can still come back, because obviously he's still got 9 games. I think Fred, the work he's done with McTominay in particular next to him, they've been outstanding. Every single big game that we've won has been down. It's either been Fred man of the match also, but Fred has been in the top 2 every single time. So I think that's important. I think when we played Spurs earlier as well, Fred was pivotal in the win then. Was, what would you do? I know mine's slightly different to probably what both of you are going to do.
I mean, listen to Saeed is interesting because originally I went with obviously Bruno and Pogba, probably next to each other, and then obviously a defensive-minded midfielder just behind them, sitting discipline-wise. I'm agreeing with Ricky. But Matic, I'm not a big fan of Matic. He's too slow and he's aging as well. But he does a job. Discipline-wise, he's probably the most disciplined player there. He's not going to get carried away. But then watching Fred, the way he's just, come leaps and bounds.
He breaks plays so well, man, Fred.
From being the worst player in our team for years to one of the best. Do you know what I mean? So, and it's difficult to drop him as well. Even obviously Pogba's a lot better, so you have to make space for him. But to drop Fred is tricky as well. But to be honest, I would be personally happy even if you went with Scott McTominay, Fred, or even Matic. I'm leaving that one open. That's going to be a mystery. It's up to Social. Whatever's seen on training, you have to go with that, and I'll have to trust in it.
Yeah, I suppose obviously based on fitness, it's quite clear McTominay is definitely in best shape by a long stretch.
But
what he's been.
Sorry to interrupt again. But with Fred, I think if you think about the way Bruno and Pogba play, and they want those balls quicker, the interchange.
Through the lines as well. You'll play that ball through the lines.
I can visualize Fred just giving it and just getting to space, even creating that kind of between them. Even
he has your body.
Yeah,
open
definitely.
Open up the body and then move into that space. I don't think Matic drives into the space. Fred can drive into the space. I don't think Matic does that enough.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Doesn't do it successfully. Matic can't do it. He's so robotic, and the way he moves is like 90-degree angles. Like really slow. You know exactly what I mean.
90-degree angles. Well, I listened to what you're saying. Obviously, Fred's got that pass, the one to break the lines, to play into Bruno's feet in that pocket, and then he can feed it to Martial. A very direct play, obviously, or he could play to Rashford on the wing and so forth. So that would definitely be important, especially if he's trying to adopt that counter-attacking football. It's difficult because I'm not going to lie, I've changed my mind about 3-4 times because it's good. It's a good sort of dilemma to have, but Matic has got all the experience. That's the thing for me. That's making me think put him there. But in saying that, it's hard to leave Fred or McTominay out because I think they've both been fantastic as well. So you could, like you said once, he could go with any of them. If I was to stick my neck on the line, I probably would go for Matic just because of his experience. He probably would. Well, I suppose we'll find out if it's a mistake. So I'd go Matic, Pogba, and Bruno. There was reports. I don't know if you guys seen this. There was reports that Solskjaer's planning on playing Pogba in the 10 and swapping him with Bruno and playing Bruno in the 6/8. What are your thoughts on that, Saeed?
I can see that happening. I see that against Wolves. You know what I mean? Bruno's not trying to get the ball and, not trying to find the ball and then almost dropping deep just to kind of receive the ball or whatnot. Yeah. So for me, that's massive, absolutely massive. But I don't know. I'm slightly kind of a case of you play Pogba in the number 8 position, and you go play Bruno in the number 10. That's where Bruno's more creative. That's where Bruno can do his magic. That's where Bruno can almost feed into the lines of of Martial. Well, who would you say is more a case of like who would more and risk take more? You would probably say Bruno Fernandes. I mean Paul Pogba.
Yeah.
But I think Paul
Probably got
Bruno
conversion as well, I think.
There you go. But in terms of Paul Pogba, sometimes you think, oh, does he hog the ball too much? Does he kind of get the ball too much? But then Bruno Fernandes can almost play that ball quickly, and that's what I've loved about Bruno. He plays it so quickly. It's almost as if sometimes Martial is not, he's not ready to pounce on that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
For sure, man. I think it's also important to remember that Pogba is a box-to-box. Like, obviously for France, he plays that box-to-box role with Kante all the time. He's done it since he's a young kid. So I just don't think there's any need to change something that's not broken. Like, Bruno's been absolutely phenomenal in that position. For me, he's made it his own. And I think Pogba and Bruno, almost like a 4-3-3 position, they'll be playing almost like side to side anyway. So I don't see why you would change that. Let Pogba have his ability to come back anyways, obviously track back. We've got, just to move on from that, we've also been linked with Van der Beek. Obviously, I've not spoken to either of you about this. We'll start with you. What are your thoughts? Because he's a basic in 8 and 6 anyways. So we've already spoken about Fred McTominay, who potentially played there, Pogba as well. What are your thoughts on getting Van der Beek? Because Van der Sar has quite clearly come out and said, we're interested, Man United interested. Whether that's him trying to put on more money for Real Madrid, obviously remains to be seen. But what would you do, Vassal, regarding him?
But to be honest, I've not seen much of Van der Beek, to be honest. But I did watch a few YouTube videos just to get a bit of education regarding that. Sorry, Saeed.
But man's trying to make you choke in that.
Okay. I can't really give a comment because I don't see him week in, week out. I don't know much about him, to be honest. But from what I saw of him, all those amazing clips, they probably took all the dirt. And
the Messi Lingard looks good on them, mate.
Even I look good on them. One assist this season. But I mean, he's pretty good.
Okay, Saeed will come to you because clearly Wass hasn't seen enough of him. What are your thoughts? Obviously, I've seen you shaking your head, so I'm assuming.
Again, it's one of them for me. Like, it's a case of like I said, it was only United, and the show was about Grealish or what's it called, Van der Beek. And for me, I would go with more Grealish because of the fact that he gives you that star quality in terms of just getting on the ball and just making something out of nothing. But Donny Van der Beek's a very, very intelligent player. I think United lacked an intelligent player. I don't know why we sold Daley Blind. I think that was an intelligent player.
Yeah, completely agree.
Donny Van der Beek is that kind of player. You can play in the number 8, number 10, number 6. Can be box-to-box midfielder. I think it was brilliant against Tottenham last year, against the likes of Real Madrid last year. For me, the problem is it's like, I think it's all rumours for me because of the fact that we've got so many players in that position. We've got Matic and McTominay who can play both there. But then you've also, for me, United have to get rid of all the players in terms of Pereira, Lingard, maybe another midfielder. We probably got to get rid of them two before we can go back to Van der Beek. Because then it's a case of how many do you fit in? Like, I don't know. I would love United to go get Donny Van der Beek because then it's more depth in the quality and it's more, more things to look at because you look at Real Madrid, look at the top clubs in Europe, they have always players to just go put in there. So I would welcome it for 35 million. Apparently, I'm hearing 35 million, 40 million.
Very cheap.
I'd take it.
That's a steal. Yeah, that's a steal. Regarding Andres Pereira and Lingard, I totally agree. That's what I was saying the other day as well. For me personally, we have to sell them two players if you're going to try and sign Van der Beek because there's too many people there. And on top of that, we're hearing reports that Man United haven't got excess amount of money as Chelsea have. We'll touch upon Chelsea shortly with their signing. I just don't think it's a position that we need to fill at the moment. I think we've got other areas. Sancho, for me, we have to go and get Sancho. And if you're going to buy a midfielder, it has to be Partey or Ndidi for me. Like, get a specialist DM. Obviously, Matic is, we've got another year on his contract, but he's not going to be here next year. And if he is here next year as a main DM, he shouldn't be. That shows lack of ambition from the club. Like, at the end of the day, Partey is 50 million, hypothetically speaking, give or take. I'm quoted from what Arsenal fans are saying. Why are we not going for Partey? Put extra 50 million on him, put him down. Imagine a midfielder, Partey, Bruno, and Pogba is arguably one of the best in the world. Like, not even in the league, like, genuinely one of the best 3 in the world. And I don't say a lot of people could argue with that. And then they've got a specialist in each position in the midfield three. So that's what I would do. Obviously, I'd rate him as a player. I've seen enough of him, mainly in the Champions League. Like I said, my mate's a Spurs fan, so I was enjoying every game when he was absolutely destroying Spurs. That was fantastic. Giving him a bit of banter then and there. So he's a quality player. There's no denying that. He's probably potentially better than what we've got. But yeah, for me personally, it's a no. But you can't deny his quality. Let's talk about Chelsea quickly, and then we'll come back to Man United. Obviously, there's a lot spoken about the strike. I know you've spoken a lot about this, but I'm going to ask you.
Yeah.
The striker position. I'm interested to hear what you've got to say, because I've got a feeling we probably differ on this opinion. What are your thoughts on the Gallo and not going for Buena?
To be honest with you, I like first and foremost, I'm happy you got Igalo as an option. That's for me. I want to get that out. Igalo as an option is okay, but my kind of underlying feeling is that Man United are going for that option and not going for another option on top of it. I think Man United need another option on top of it. I think Martial is Igalo a good competitor for Martial? I don't think so, to be honest with you. I don't think Martial's sweating right now thinking, yeah, Gallo's behind the back. He's gonna get my position. I don't think that's true. But if you had Werner there, well, it shouldn't be, yeah. But then if you've got Werner there and you've got competition for places, and then you almost got a case of, right, Martial, you're going to have to step up now, or you're going back on the left wing, or you're going to have to step up and you're not playing. And I feel like Martial's a good player. Don't get me wrong. He's a quality player. But I don't think he gets 25, 30 goals a season, which Man United should be getting. I don't think that's the case. Maybe he can carry on and he's only 25. He can do that. And maybe with the likes of Bruno Fernandes here for a full season. Paul Pogba maybe here still season.
It's the service, I think. I think lack of service, you can't. How can you score 30 goals if you ain't going to get lack of service as well, isn't it? Obviously now, we'll see now.
I know what you mean, but then again, you look at world quality strikers. They almost make something out of nothing.
Yeah.
Well, he has against Man City though. He did against Man City twice.
Yeah. True. Don't get me wrong. He's a quality player, and is he consistent enough on all fronts? Maybe not. I just look at it and I think always Man United have had top quality strikers in the past. You look at Rooney, Van Persie, Van Nistelrooy. You would have players that would be scoring and would be reliable. That's the key thing. Reliable every game to be scoring. Martial is one of them when I'm thinking, right, I'm hopefully he scores today, hopefully. It's not a case of he's going to score today. It's maybe I reckon away at Everton, last year when it was away at Everton, I was thinking, right, this is your time to shine now. I want you to score goals. But then in case it wasn't there. So I just want to know if I can strike that gets something out of nothing. That's why I wanted Harry Kane. Something that can make something out of nothing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Outside the box shot. You know what I mean? Left foot, right foot. Can maybe bully a defender. Can maybe make the intelligent runs that Martial doesn't make. Don't get me wrong, I want Martial to stay, but we need competitiveness. That's the same with the midfield. That's the same with the centre-backs. Centre-back positions as well. Same with the left-back positions. Shaw, for me right now, should be our first choice left-back. But then again, is there competitive there for him? Same with Rashford. I would want someone that's been competitive with Rashford. Is Chong that person that can give that? I don't know. So for me, United need to always have. Look at Sané. You look at Sané leaving now. Mahrez, there was Sterling, Liverpool. You know what I mean? They've still got Origi in the bench. You know what I mean? To come off. They've got Shaqiri. You know what I mean? They've still got players that can come off the bench. And if Klopp doesn't fancy Mane 1 minute, he'll bring off Origi and say, "Listen, you make the difference." So we need to still bring that competitiveness. And for me, Werner's a big blow for me because I thought United surely can get 50 million out of somewhere, but. I think we're going to rely on more, like the brother said, we're going to rely on more like creativity more than a striker. So if you've got the creativity there, then we might see more goals. Maybe that way.
Yeah, to be fair, I agree with what you've said regarding, obviously, Martial. Is he going to get 25, 30 goals? That remains to be seen. However, what I will say is, I think it's difficult for any striker. If you put Lewandowski in there, he'll get a couple of goals here and there off his own back. But when you got the likes of Pereira feeding your ball,
yeah, well,
there's that clip of Martial against Watford when he's grabbed Pereira's face. He's like, "Bro, come on, man, just one pass, man, just one pass." And I'm not making excuses for him, but if you actually look at his conversion and the amount of chances he has a game, man's got less than Glenn Murray in plays like that. Like he doesn't get that many chances a game. So I think in Martial's defense, if he gets 5 chances a game and he scores, obviously people aren't going to be looking, he's scoring. But he gets literally 1 chance a game, and he has to have 100% conversion every game to score enough at the moment. As soon as Bruno came in, if I'm not mistaken, he scored like 5 and 6. So just with Bruno, obviously Pogba comes back in team. You saw the link up he had with Rashford. They're starting to grow together finally. You know, it's been a lot of patience for United fans. Obviously, people say slagging Rashford off, you know, 1 week slagging Martial. You know, they've been developing. They've finally got that understanding now. You can see that they know exactly what each other are trying to do. So I think I understand why you're frustrated by the Werner thing. I think there's two things I can think of. One thing is we haven't got enough money, and we need to put that money towards Sancho. That's why we've thought allow Werner. Igalo is the easy option, which is not good enough for Man United, to be quite frankly honest with you. Because obviously we're meant to be a big club. We're not acting like a big club. You know, we're acting like Arsenal Football Club, which, you know, we don't want to be down there, do we? You know what I mean? They're not won a league in like 15 years. But yeah, so regarding the competitiveness as well, again, I agree with that. But I just don't think we're there yet, to be honest with you, Saeed. Obviously, every Man United fan would want us to have that strength in depth where we've got two people fighting for one position. You saw with Luke Shaw, briefly when Williams was playing in front of him, Luke Shaw stepped up his game. Like, obviously, he's been, actually, to be fair to him, you know, he's been on good form. Williams came in, took his position, and he was like, yo, I need to step up, otherwise I'm sat on bench to a kid. So you're right, it definitely improved his game. Obviously, maybe not up here, but for where his ceiling is, he's definitely closer to his ceiling than he was prior to Williams' addition. So it's important to have that competitiveness. I just think at the moment, where we are heading is we want to fill the gaps that we need, which is the right wing, based on the money. I think the right wing and the CDM, for me personally, is where the money is going to go. I don't think we've got money for another striker. I don't think we have the luxury of doing what Real Madrid did last summer, buying 6 players, because that's what a big club does. What are your thoughts on the Igalo situation?
Well, you know, I'm a big fan of Igalo, and we were talking about this yesterday, Saeed, basically about the experience he gives to the younger generation as well. Do you know what I mean? And people like Greenwood could learn a lot off him. He's come from China, obviously a massive contract. All the money that they've offered him there, about 300-400 grand a week or something like that. And he's taken a pay cut to play for United for the badge. And I absolutely love that. I don't care what he does, comes on, not comes on, whatever. I love him for that. And people, the younger generation in the team, like I say Greenwood and Williams and that, they can look up to someone like that and say, you know what, this guy's come from that far, left all that money. What's so good about this club? Do you know what I mean? And back in the days, we used to have people who played for the badge. You go to games, isn't it? You can tell who's actually playing. Look at McTominay; he's playing for the badge, isn't it? There's a difference in certain players and stuff. So
but whilst in saying that, there's more. You can't just buy players because they're happy to be there. I'd be happy to play. I'd take a pay cut and I'll sit on the Man United bench as well and give Martial a high five when he scores. Do you know what I mean? So.
But the thing is, he's actually scored goals. He's made a couple of contributions, like when he came on against Man City, and he's a good backup player. But I can see what you guys are saying about how a big club like United should be pushing the likes of Martial, left back, right back, you know, all that. We need backups. Even Wan-Bissaka needs to be pushed. Do you know what I mean?
If God forbid, Rashford gets injured again, right? If God forbid, obviously, of course. Rashford gets injured again now, we're screwed. We're back to square one. Martial's up front with, I don't know, Garland and Dan James probably.
Yeah.
So I agree with what you're saying, Saeed. I just think, I think a Garland thing, it shows that we're trying to get to top 4 before we're challenging. I think that's what we're trying to take gradual steps. I think that's why that's the only reason why I accept it. I understand what you're saying. If we got a Werner, obviously the guy could potentially be world class in it. But I think they're trying to do it because I think the mistake that we did before with Joseph, even was it Van Gaal when we had Di Maria, Falcao, and all these man. So I think they tried to go from down here all the way up there. And I think they're trying to build something rather than, you know, let's try to get to 3rd next season, then we'll go challenge. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, if it doesn't pan out like that, then it's going to be a flop in it. But let's talk about Oli. Obviously, Saeed, you're very vocal on your thoughts, freestyle football. I'm not going to ask you what your thoughts on Ali because I think it's quite clear what your thoughts on Ali. But I want to know from you, what does he need to do to change your mind?
Change my mind. I think it's just have a style and own it. Maybe that's my kind of idea. Maybe, you know, introduce what you want to do and how you want to play. I still don't know what Man United's play style is. I don't know what Man United are based on. I don't know if we can sustain counter-attacking football for a while. I think against, like, for me, the Everton game was baffling. That way, for me, I just like say to myself, it's very, very clear on what Oli and his frailties are. At the Everton game, he played a diamond formation, which was very,
didn't work.
Didn't work, did it? You know what I mean? I don't know why he did it against Everton. He could have easily packed the midfield out and just went at Everton and just dismantled them. They were there for the taking, Everton, that day, by the way. And Everton grew into the game. And in the second half, Everton absolutely bossed the game.
Well, they should have won.
There you go. Tom Davies had a yellow card for the first half. And Man United did not once capitalise on that. They did not once try and press Davies into making a mistake. They did not once try and sort something out. You know what I mean? Martial was taken off on the 5 minutes to go for Brandon Williams for no reason. I don't know why Brandon Williams was subbed on. Don't get me wrong. If Igalo scores that goal, okay, Bruno Fernandes hits and Igalo scores, then we'll all be laughing. But for me, what needs to change for me is this: has Ole understood what he wants for Man United? I don't know. When the pressure's on now, because now it'll be a case of how will he sort out Bruno and Pogba. If you don't want Bruno and Pogba to play, and you feel like it's not going to suit your play style, then don't play Bruno and Pogba. Simple as that. Because then at least you've got the kind of cojones to say, you know what, this is not my style. It's not how I play, and I'm going to be playing better than just Bruno playing. That's it. And Pogba's not going to play, or vice versa, or maybe Pogba has to sit deep and make Bruno on the 10 or whatnot. But he has to almost kind of, for me, he's got to change this notion of counter-attacking football. It can't always work against teams where they sit back. Like Sheffield United would be the classic example. How will Man United break them down?
I'm just telling you now, Saeed, Sheffield United are not sitting back, bro. I'm telling you that I've watched every single one of their games, bro. They're one of the best passing teams in league. Like, genuinely, I'd probably put them in top 5. I'm not even gassy. Like, if you speak to anyone who watches Sheffield United games, they play ball, but they play better football than us. And I'm not even just saying they're overlapping on, overlapping centre backs and stuff. There's a few things that I want to obviously hold you up on. First and foremost, regarding the Ollie's style of football and stuff, which is, of course, you call it freestyle football. Yeah. I want to ask you, just before we move on from that, have you seen the change since Bruno's come in, though? Have you seen any sort of change?
I don't know, For me, does Bruno add quality? Though? Yes or no? Does Bruno add quality?
Of course.
Undeniable quality.
He's not good as Lingard, but he's up there.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a case of you've got better players or Man United playing better. Obviously, you've got the kind of, the feeling of the feel-good factor of a player coming in quality. You know what I mean? United are on the up. But you've got to look at that Burnley game. From that Burnley game to Bruno coming in, there's a stark contrast, and Man United needed that. But I still look at the frailties in terms of how we're receiving the ball and how we're almost going from defence to attack. You know what I mean? I still don't know if it's cohesive enough and the way Man United want to play. You know what I mean? And Bruno coming, you know what I mean? It's lifting the spirits. It's almost lifting other players so they can perform better. You know what I mean? But I'm still going to question always the abilities of the manager of Ole and the backroom staff he's got. You know what I mean? The way he's trying to construct the team. That for me is, I'm always going to question. But don't get me wrong, Bruno Fernandes coming in is a quality addition, and it's only going to enhance any team for me.
Okay, what I'm going to say, I'm listening to what you're saying, and I agree with a lot of what you're saying, to be fair. But as someone that's done coaching myself for like 5 years now, there's one thing that I think people forget that they don't see, basically. Right, let me give you an example. So when Pep Guardiola first came into Manchester City, right, it was a shambles. Everyone was calling him a fraud, etc. The first season, he had to sell players to obviously. He had to get rid of the goalkeeper twice to get a goalkeeper that can play his philosophy. This isn't me making an excuse for Oli, but what I think it's hard to potentially see what his philosophy is at the moment, because he hasn't got players to utilize and get the best out of the style of football that he's trying to, portray. So, for example, just as an example, if he is trying to play tiki-taka football, obviously we know he's not. There's no way you compare tiki-taka football with the likes of Lingard and Pereira, because they're just not capable of doing that football. And he hasn't had plays off a caliber to portray a certain style of football. And I think he's kind of, just to save his job possibly, just resulted in what are the strengths of this crop of players is counter-attacking football. We've got pace in abundance up front. Let's just get through these games, and hopefully in the summer we can buy players like Bruno. Hopefully Pogba will be back. Then we can start playing a different brand of football. For me, for where I stand is, if Oli doesn't show me something different now, when everybody's fit, then for me he's not the right person, because he hasn't got a leg to stand on. He's got Pogba. Exactly. So he has to show me something different now. Again, especially after Spurs and Sheffield United, every other team, arguably, we should be beating Sheffield United as well. But every other team after them 2 games, including the Leicester game, we should be slapping them. with the players we've got. Let's make no mistake about it. And we should be outplaying them as well. None of this counter-attacking sitting back against Brighton, Southampton. We lost to Bournemouth. That pissed me off anyways, as it was that shit goal that King scored. But, this is when he has to earn his money for me. And if he continues counter-attacking football against, the lesser team, so to speak, then for me, he's not the right person. Then I'll look elsewhere and say, no, I agree with you, Saeed. His football, for me, is not the standard of Man United. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, listen to both of you. I agree with you quite a bit, actually. Yeah. With Ollie, I still think he's learning on the job. We know that he does have a proper number 2. Carrick's learning on the job. I don't know much about.
Is that good enough for Man United, or be a charity case?
Listen, I love Ollie. I'm a big Ollie fan. You know what I'm like.
What's is a bit older than us? How old are you? 33, 32? Nah.
I'll take that. Yeah, 32.
Yeah, I think you're 37.
30, yeah?
You're 37. So obviously, Was knows Ollie and all these guys that that we know Rooney and that's his era. Just take this pinch of bias in it. But go on, Was, carry on.
So basically, no. Obviously, he's a great player. We know he's a legend, but we can't have all that sentimentality and all that business.
Of course.
Just coaching wise. You can tell he's learning of the job. He's like me going in there with a suit on and that's it, pretending to know.
He's made some stupid mistakes, man, for sure.
The worst one that gets me is the substitutions, how late he is. It pisses me off, actually. Yeah. He takes the mick. And I love him, but I'm usually shouting the screen by there. I'm like, come on, get him on. This guy's not playing. He gives him too much time. That's inexperience. Also, you can tell he's buying. I don't know if he must have a say in who's coming in through the door now. Someone like Bruno has saved his job, I must admit.
Yeah, without doubt.
The game against Newcastle when you lost your head, Saeed.
I was with you.
I've never been Ollie out. I've never been Ollie out. Huh?
Longstaff, doing his arm, doing an injection into his arm.
The wrong Longstaff. The wrong staff, yeah. But basically, I'm willing to give him time. Now, like you said, the full squad's back. You can't play counter. This is where tactics come into it. And you were saying there's no crowd in the stadium, so it's just pure total football. Yeah, and you can't just leave it to the players. Yeah, this you can obviously leave the players have got the skill and talent to carry out certain things on their own, and on the job they can learn on the pitch. Basically, they can just freestyle and do anything, but you have to have tactics. You have to have a game plan. You can't play counter. You can't play with two CDMs now. You have to play advance and take the game to people like Tottenham, teams like Tottenham.
That's the key thing.
And if you do that with the quality, Tottenham, man, can't flip an answer. Come on, man, look at the field. You say Harry Kane. That guy, he's going to come back. It's going to be August for him. He ain't scored any shit. He scored the last game of.
And he scores a hat-trick.
If he scores a hat-trick, don't worry, I'm clipping this. Listen, we're going to finish on there, Saeed. I got one more question, right? And a lot of people have been asking me to ask you this, right? So I'm going to read it straight off because I need to make sure I get it right. Okay, so there's been a lot of speculation, right, surrounding a transfer. I just want your opinion on it. So basically, people said, I think it was 2017, you made a transfer from full-time Devils to United Standard. What was the transfer fee?
Undisclosed.
I seen your tweet, man. I was laughing. You sick guy.
No. Honestly, it was it's no hard feelings in full-time Devils, but I mean, had to move up. I had to move across the strip, man.
Say no more. Yeah. Thank you very much for your time, man. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on, man.
Anytime. Thanks for having me on.
Absolute pleasure. As always, be sure to like and subscribe. And Saeed's, everyone knows who Saeed is anyway, but if you don't, description, check him out, absolute legend, Mr. AK Freestyle Football. And also check him out on FIFA. Just before you go, what's happening with you and Expressions? Have you had that rematch or what?
Nah, but he's still ducking me, man. Yo,
make sure if you lose to him, he's not going to let you forget about it.
Listen.
So, bro, you best be
trading. I had a warm-up. I came back.
You best be trading, man. You can't be losing to Expressions. But apart from that, it's been your boy, Brothers United Podcast. Peace. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Saeed.